What's up? It's Guru Jojo, and in this video today I'm going to be talking about how to better integrate all the chakras together so that one can live a more balanced lifestyle. This video was recommended by, I believe the username is XX Amazing Fruits XX. I might have left out an X or added an additional one, I'm not really sure, but that user on YouTube recommended this video. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and speak on how to balance out all their chakras together. And first I'm going to mention that you can't actually skip any of the chakras. When I say skip, I simply mean that you cannot just over focus on one chakra. Anytime we over focus, that's what skipping is. That's how we actually under focus on other chakras or other forms of intelligences. And when we start to ignore certain chakras, you're actually like ignoring certain parts of your brain, and that's like being brain dead in one area basically. So once you start to once you start to actually like see which chakras are out of balance in your life, then what you're going to do is you're going to incorporate those chakras that are out of balance into your day-to-day lifestyle without forgetting the other chakras you already have balanced, which their other chakras you have balanced are most likely already subconsciously being nurtured every single day through either your job that you do, the work that you do, or something with your day-to-day routine that you subconsciously do anyway to help keep that chakra flowing. So with that being said, it's important to understand that in order to undergo a balanced life, that all the chakras have to have a pretty even level of importance in one's life. So that's what I mean by you can't skip the chakras, is like you can't expect to live. It's almost like you can't expect to be like have structure and stability in your life, right? If you're overemphasizing your throat chakra, or you're overemphasizing any chakra other than the root chakra. And then you can't expect to be like a strong communicator, or at least just like someone who can communicate at a intermediate level or something like that, if you're over focusing on stability in your life, on just having security and feeling safe, which would be like connected to the root chakra and crystallized intelligence. So that's what I mean by you can't just like jump and focus so much on one area and not have attended enough to the other areas if the goal is to live a balanced life. So with that being said, most people don't have to really necessarily go so deeply because I see a lot of these things on YouTube where they're like, you gotta spend so much time on each of the chakras, like for flipping like weeks on one chakra. No, you don't have to do that. That's extreme. Most people have their chakras implemented. We exist, we live everyday life, so we have our chakras are open, our chakras are spinning. It's just that the only thing we have to do is recognize which chakra is unbalanced and then focus on that chakra, but not too extreme. All right, let's say two. It might be more than one chakra. Once you find out which chakras are out of balance, you want to try to every single day incorporate that energy into your life cycle. And then, but don't forget the chakras that you have balanced out, because the only time your chakras become out of balance is when we ignore another chakra. The only time the chakras get out of balance is when we over focus on one area of life, when we over focus on one chakra, on one intellect, on one intelligence, and then that causes the other energies to become depleted basically. It's like if you spend too much time in the sunlight, you're getting way too much serotonin, and those serotonin and melatonin are neurotransmitters that are natural in our body that are like kind of like the yin yang. They're pretty balanced out. It's like night and day. Even though those are together, it's like if you overly focus on the sunlight, then what's gonna happen is you're gonna notice that you may have problems. You may end up having problems sleeping, and you may even have other like random other problems. Like maybe you may have problems staying awake too, to be complete, because it can go the opposite. And same thing, people that may stay in the dark too much. Like for example, I had to start going out more because like sometimes I stay in the dark way too much, to the point that when I say the dark, like I literally mean like my house. It's not my house. My dad's house is like, there's so much trees covering like in front of my room window and stuff, to the point I don't get enough sunlight. And it's like sometimes I can't even sleep. So you see how it goes like opposite? It's like I'm not getting enough serotonin from going out and experiencing the sunlight and whatnot, to the point that it's probably like my body's probably overproducing serotonin or something like that. And I'm not even really, it just makes both the serotonin and the melatonin out of balance. But anyways, I kind of diverged off the topic. So back to the topic. Once you find out which chakras in your life are out of balance, then you want to incorporate those chakras into your everyday life without forgetting about the chakras that you already have balanced out. So I'm just going to give maybe a couple examples. So let's say that I'm a person who has a really strong throat chakra, but and like my third eye is pretty good, you know what I'm saying, my crown chakra is pretty good, but I'm noticing that for some reason I can never stay stable in anything practical in everyday life. But I could talk my ass off. I could tell you about yourself and why you going through these problems, and I could pretty much like recreate anything or something like that. It's like nothing. But when it comes to like other stuff, let's say I may forget to drink enough water, and let's say I notice that I never really stable in life. I go into things, I start them, and then they end. And also too, I'm emotionally erratic for some reason, and then I don't want to talk to people, and then sometimes I want to talk to people too much, and then I become needy. So we know that the upper three intelligences are strength. The communication skills are good. The understanding how people feel around me is good, and then being able to just be highly intellectual and see above a lot of things is on point. But what's not being integrated into my life would be the crystallized intelligence, which is the root chakra. So there's no stability really in my life. Then let's say the sacral chakra is jacked up. Like there's no emotional security in my life. So now I have like quick mood swings, and let's say that I just don't know how to like control my emotions, and I might have like crying outbursts or something, or I might never cry at times when it's appropriate. Like, why aren't you crying? Why aren't you upset? And then the solar plexus is jacked up. It's like, oh shit, I forgot to drink water like all day today. I didn't even drink anything, and it's like my mouth dry. Like, what is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, and then somebody like was hitting on you and you just didn't even care and you liked them. That's like your solar plexus is all weak. You can't even assert yourself towards like that motivation, that willpower to go after what you want. And so then if that something like that is happening, we know those lower levels are not together. So then I would know I need to somehow incorporate those into my life. I need to strengthen my own emotional security, my own emotional intelligence, and my own emotive intelligence, and my own crystallized intelligence. So I would sit down with myself and think, what do I want to be stable in? Like, what do I care about enough to actually want to do every single day I wake up? What do I want to do in my life? And what am I going to do again the next day to make sure that that's being nurtured. And then what am I going to do again the next day to make sure that's being nurtured? And then what am I going to do the next day to make sure that's being nurtured? Am I going to keep doing something that's similar to what I did before in order to build upon that purpose? Then I'll be working on my root chakra. Then under my crystallized intelligence. Then under my pillow, I could put a crystal or a gemstone that's connected to that energy signature. And every night before I go to bed, I'll think about it. And you know what I'm saying? And thinking about it while having it there, you go to sleep, you start to download those energies, and then you'll notice that your brain now is producing like a new blueprint for you to go out and manifest those intentions, right? And then at the same time, so another thing is too, you incorporate the chakras into, so this is how you use it in an intellectual way. You incorporate it into your schedule of your days. So when you wake up, you should do something that helps you connect to your root chakra once you wake up. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's good to even have like a crystal or something or a gemstone under your pillow, because you know you could slide your hand under the pillow, hold that energy, and then think about that purpose so that you could crystallize it, you know. And then with the sacral chakra, when you wake up, put some flipping water next to your bed. So after you pick up that gemstone and you incorporate that, and you put that into your mental, right? Then you drink some water. So now you're fulfilling your sacral chakra. Automatically, you're fulfilling your emotional intelligence, because you're most likely thirsty when you first wake up anyway, to be completely honest. And the second chakra, the emotional intelligence, and the sacral, which is the sacral chakra, is very much connected to the element of water, while the root chakra and the crystallized intelligence is very connected to the earth element. So but it's like it's more of like a deep earth, like it's a deep earth. Another thing I would recommend is like a singing bowl for the chakras that you have problems with. I have problems with my root chakra like my whole life. It's hard for me to stay secure into things. And it's weird because it's like the one thing that I like really want in my life, but it's like, but anyways, it's not the point. So like, you know, even something like in the morning when you first wake up, like, you know, you could integrate that energy into your energetic signature. And they have ones for the sacral chakra, the solar plexus. They have it for the heart chakra. They have it for the throat chakra. They have it for the third eye and the crown chakra. And then they have like random other ones too. So this is it's a Tibetan. I might have pronounced it wrong. Tibetan singing bowl. And this is it's connected to the root chakra. I got this at like a shop over here, but you could get it online. So you could do things like that, you know what I'm saying? And then like, again, going off of that example, the last chakra that in this example for that person would be that their solar plexus is depleted, meaning that their emotive or motivational intelligence is depleted. So start working out. Like, so after incorporating that root chakra through putting the crystal under the bed, and then the sacral chakra by drinking the water. The third thing the person would do is do a brief workout. This workout doesn't even have to be that it doesn't have to be like extreme cardio. It could simply be when you wake up, do stretches, and like there's various stretches you could do. I recommend yoga, Pilates type of shit, because this will help you to just like get your blood flowing better and all that stuff. And also, after you work out or before you work out, eat something. Like, you should eat something. That will help too, because your solar plexus is connected to your gut. It's connected to your digestion. So that's another good way. Another good thing for solar plexus is the citrine. This is a citrine gemstone. And so I would recommend something like that. And So that's the best way to balance out your chakras altogether. The main thing you have to do is find out what chakras am I depleted in and which ones am I good in. Like, write that down or something like that, put it in thought, and then think about like why your chakras are strong in that area for the ones that you put the strengths in. Think about what you're doing to constantly nurture that, and then look at the ones that are depleted and pretty much look at like, why is it depleted? You know what I'm saying? If your throat chakra is depleted, look at like why. Like, most likely if your throat chakra is depleted, it's because you're not speaking up. You're not telling first a lot of okay. With the throat chakra, I should actually go over all of them. So as to how you could tell like it's depleted or strong. You can also go online and Google this, but basically if your root chakra is depleted or out of balance in some way, most likely this means that so the signs that you would see is you would notice that for some reason you don't stay involved in things for a long time. Now, a long time, I'm speaking on like work. A lot of people that have like stable lives, I notice that they'll work in the same place for like years, like whether it be 3, 4, 5 years. But if you're a person who only stays at a job maybe for 1 year or 2 years, now if you have a temp job, that's different because this would mean that you stabilize yourself in a structured form of instability. Does that make sense? It's probably like kind of like a Chiron kind of energy, like for the astrology people, it's like that structure but not structure, and then it's like the rainbow bridge between there. It's like, oh, I found that structure between the non-structure and the structure. That would be like temp jobs, and then. Damn, man, I'm always getting off topic, but it's relevant. It's relevant. So that would be a way, right? To find out if your root chakra is weakened. Also, if you feel like you don't belong, like it's hard for you to identify with your sense of belongingness in this world. Like if you're not a fan of anything or something, like you don't feel like, there's people who just like what they like, and then so because of that, you have like this group of beings who all like this same thing, who has a preference for this same thing, and that kind of makes you feel a sense of connection, regardless if it's at a distance or not. This would be family, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel connected to your family? And if you don't feel connected to your family, have you found your family? Like, because sometimes you could feel disconnected from your real family, but have you found your family outside of your bloodline then, if that's the case? And little things like that. If you feel connected, basically anything that makes you feel connected to this earth would determine whether or not your root chakra is strengthened. And then for your sacral chakra, the way to tell that if it's depleted, this would be, how is your emotional development within the self? How is that being expressed? So if it's out of balance, you may notice that you may be impulsive when it comes to any type of sudden chemical change within your emotional expression. Like if suddenly you start to feel like drowsy, you're like, oh my god, I gotta get coffee like immediately, and you don't even just like allow your body to feel. And then let's say that you're a person who suddenly you start to feel like super anxious, and you're just like, oh my god, like I gotta get some weed, like I gotta relax myself, like I don't know, like it could be weed, it could be anything it could literally just be like music, like too. But like let's say you feel that way, you're like, oh my god, I gotta listen to some meditation music. Damn, that's me though. But you know what? It doesn't mean that's out of balance. Like if you do it that to the extreme, that means it's out of balance. Like Now, I'm not saying my sacral chakra is perfect. It may not be. I don't know. From what I understood, from when I did my shit, my crown chakra was out of balance. Like, it was too extreme or something like that. But anyways, that's besides the point. But by default, by knowing that, I know that one of my lower 3 chakras are out of balance. So you see how you could figure it out? If my crown chakra is overbalanced, then this means that I'm too much up here. So that means I need to find out how to come down here. So by default, my root chakra is jacked up most likely, or my sacral, or my solar plexus. So, excuse me. So basically, when you figure that out, that's how you pretty much incorporate it. And so for the sacral chakra, again, if you notice that you go to the extreme to transform an emotional state, like, oh, you suddenly feel anxious and you just friggin' like go and buy a bunch of goddamn oxycodone just so you could go to sleep so you didn't have to feel anxious, that's extreme. Something wrong with your sacral chakra. You know what I'm saying? Or if you get suddenly you get upset at somebody and you just punch the shit out of them in the face, like, you didn't even really get a chance to figure out like why that person made you upset. You didn't get a chance to even jump out of your sacral chakra. You just asserted yourself straight to the solar plexus, the aggressive nature of the solar plexus, and punched the shit out of them. So it's like, that's the way that you can figure out how to that's how you would know, oh, okay, my sacral chakra is out of balance because I'm going to the extreme measures in order to change an emotional state that my body was just put into. And for the solar plexus, the way that you figure out if that's out of balance, and this would be motivational energy. So it's like, if you notice that you are too motivational to the point that you start sort of like making things up in order to like motivate you, and it's not healthy, it's like you start to think like, oh, this person hit me up because they want to compete, and then you start to like compete with them for no reason. It's like, you're most likely, your solar plexus is out of balance. Your motivation's out of balance because you're not using inner motivation to do anything. So once you start to notice, so with the solar plexus chakra, and this would be your motivation or emotive intelligence, once you start to notice that you don't have any intrinsic motivation and everything you're doing is extrinsic in terms, so if you notice that everything you're doing is not coming from your own motivation, it's not coming from your own gut, your own willpower, and you're instead only doing things for something external, like almost like you're only doing it for the money, you're only doing it for what it's gonna give you, it's hard to explain. It's like a lot of things that I've done in my life, like, I've done it because of like wanting to actually just do it. But I know it's like a lot of other people, they'll do stuff just for approval. So that's what I mean by intrinsic versus extrinsic. Like, what is your purpose that you're even doing that for? Once you start to notice that you're not doing something for yourself, then that's when you know your solar plexus and your emotive intelligence is out of balance, because that chakra, that third chakra at your gut instinct level, is for you. It's for your purpose. It's your motivation. It's not anyone else around you. You shouldn't be doing it for mom and dad. You should not be doing it for your friends. You should be doing it for you. You start doing stuff for your friends and shit, and for your family, and for external energies when you get up to the heart and your throat chakra and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that's about. That's how you figure out when that's unbalanced. Now, your heart chakra, right? And this would be your receptive intelligence. You find out that this is out of balance when you start to ignore any signals of love being expressed to you. If somebody's doing something for you out of love, if somebody's giving something to you out of love, if you notice somebody trying to bond with you, if you can't even begin to see the innocence in somebody's receptivity and what they're giving out to you, what they're reaching out to you for, exchanging to you for, you kind of just like get like high amped and you're like no, I don't need it, and you get like irritable and stuff, most likely your heart chakra is out of balance. And then if you give too much, if you're too receptive, too receiving, too giving in life, and you notice like people kind of step on you, people kind of use you, and you go back and think like you, if you ever go like, and it's for real and it's not sarcastic, like if you ever just sit back and you think upon a situation, that you find something out about someone and you're just, and it's related to you, and you ever go like, your heart, you overdoing your heart chakra, most likely, like you're overdoing it. So if you give out too much, if you spend too much money on stuff and then you didn't even want it later on, you gotta overemphasize heart chakra, most likely. And so that's how you could tell when your heart chakra and your receptive intelligence is out of balance. You could tell when your throat chakra and your cognitive or linguistic intelligence is out of balance, because you'll be able to basically what would happen is, for one, you'll notice that when it comes time for you to talk or say something, you get stuck. You may lose your train of thought, like I did in my first video, because I was opening my throat chakra. Like I normally don't, this is not something that I would do, but I focused on my throat chakra for friggin' a good year to get myself to actually start to express myself. But that's another topic. So if you'll notice your throat chakra is weak too, because what happens is it'll be something simple. You're up at Wendy's at the drive-thru, you're ordering your food, you're speaking with clarity. Hi, I would like the large fry and a frosty shake at the window, and the person's like, what? And you gotta repeat yourself. You go to the supermarket and the lady's there, and like you're trying to tell her like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be using credit or something like that. She's like, what'd you say? And they look at you kind of crazy and shit, and you're just like, I'm gonna be using credit. Oh, okay. And you notice too, if like you type stuff, you get a lot of mistypes, and your texts come out wrong or something like that, or you read somebody else's text wrong, you got the wrong signal, the wrong message. So if you know somebody texts you and you don't even have the number saved in your phone book, and you're like, who this? And they're like, oh, my bad, wrong number. Like, you know, stuff like that. Chances are something's wrong with your throat chakra. And then if you notice that like people don't listen to you or something like that, there's something wrong with your throat chakra too. I'm gonna be honest, with these chakras and with these intelligences, a lot of times the overemphasis of it and the underemphasis of it is like the same thing, because it could be simply that since you don't talk enough, like a lot of times when we don't use a chakra, we overuse it randomly, and then it abruptly stops, and then we don't use it, and then it abruptly stops, and then we overuse it. And any type of abrupt in the switch, that's when you notice that it's like, oh, it's out of balance. But it's not necessarily, so that's what I'm saying. A lot of times it'd be hand in hand in terms of the underuse of it and the overuse of it. When it's balanced, you'll actually use it in a way that's more, it makes more sense. It's more practical. So it's, you know what I'm saying? And then, all right, so that was the throat chakra. Now for your third eye chakra, the way that you can tell that it's out of balance is because you'll notice that you'll either not be empathetic or understand how people feel at all. Like for some reason, if somebody doesn't give you a direct signal on how they feel, like, I'm feeling sad today, like and you couldn't just tell like this person's energy and how their behavior was, that they were sad, like they really had to go the extra mile. If you notice that you never do things for people, or your actions are never influenced by what you already know you should do based upon what you already can sense, and people literally have to sit there and directly tell you something, your third eye chakra is messed up. It's like you don't pick up on signals at all. So then you're too focused within yourself. So that means your third eye chakra would be weak, and you would need to basically you would need to, like, you know, get that rebalanced out. And then your crown chakra, you'll notice your crown chakra is weak, or out of balance, or overbalanced if you don't get, like, if you don't understand how something is connected. And so a lot of times people with a weak crown chakra are a lot of atheists and stuff, because it's like, if you don't get that there's a God, and you don't understand God in any given context, whether you believe that it's actually like a higher being that is like special, with special powers, whatever, like, if you don't, whether it be that's your belief, or whether it be that you understand that God is any type of creation, so it's yourself and what you act upon and create, or if you just understand God as just like a collective conscious, like whatever, if you don't get it and you're just like kind of bitter and like critical of any type of higher spiritual understanding, and you feel like a disconnect from that energy, you feel a disconnect from like your higher calling completely, or if you overly hear messages, you overly hear senses, now this is starting to get into schizophrenia and shit. And like, even though diseases are not real, they're like, well, mental health diseases, they're not real until you made them real because you believe that you had a problem. That's another topic. But once you start to get an either an over emphasis on that energy, which would be literally you get too many divine messages that you just be doing too much to the point you create nothing, or you just don't get any divine message to the point that you don't do shit, and you won't overly focus on everyday practical life, and you don't give a shit about higher callings, and you think like people are stupid that are spiritually inclined. You don't understand tarot cards, you don't understand astrology, you don't understand why people go to church, you don't understand why people read Bibles, and if you just think it's all bullshit and bogus, you don't get the flipping purpose behind it, there's something wrong with your crown chakra. So this is the way to figure out if your chakras are out of balance. Once you notice that they're out of balance, you want to go ahead and incorporate that energy somehow into your day-to-day basis without forgetting to connect to your the chakras that are already balanced. So you can strengthen what you are depleting, but let's say that your third eye is still good, aka don't forget to be empathetic to others, and don't forget to do what you already naturally do as it relates to your third eye. Most likely the chakras that you're balanced in, for some reason you have to incorporate that into work or something like that, because most people work every day. So if you already, so it means like, you know, you're incorporating your third eye into work, you have to use it, and so that's the reason why it's fine anyway. So yeah, and then, or something you're into, like you may play sports, or you may babysit every day, like whatever you do every day is already incorporating that chakra. So figure out what chakras are being depleted by your everyday schedule. So I hope this video was helpful. And so I showed the solar plexus earlier, and this is actually the energy, I mean, Yo, I said I showed the solar plexus. I meant to say I showed this citrine stone earlier, and this is actually the energy that I'm sending out to everyone today. Stone, it is connected to the solar plexus. This helps to increase one's motivation. It helps to make someone feel connected to their willpower so they can assert themselves appropriately to satisfy their own personal needs. But it has to be balanced, or else that will make you selfish and like extreme and like, you know, aggressive. So this is like a balanced energy I'm sending out to everyone to strengthen their solar plexus. Thank you for watching.